Hello.
Hola.
How's it going?
Excuse my mouthful of nerd clusters.
I swear them things have crack in them.
I started to say there's a common theme because the Georgia episode, I also had a mouthful of nerd clusters when we started.
And that was the last time we recorded.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Anywho.
Welcome to another week.
Yep.
This week's not going to be as chaotic as last week's.
No.
I still think we should have waited till last to record that one because it'd probably been a lot more.
Have.
Lot more giggling. It would have been a lot less talking and a lot more wheezing.
Also would have been a good pick your poison.
Oh my God. Never again.
See, I think also too, like if I did it and you didn't, that would also probably be, you'd probably have a good time. If I took a garden gummy. Because I get quite giggly.
And start making unnecessary online purchases.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? Life's short. You can't take it with you.
Okay.
Go into debt now.
It wasn't that long ago that you said money is just a construct. It's a man-made thing. I don't care.
It is. It's fake. Money's not real. Spend it.
And then my brain
on
goes,
things you like.
My brain goes, capitalism's really popping off today.
Yeah. So this week, we kind of have, it's this like, I mean, I think I like this, how did that get turned down?
Are we recording even?
No, we are recording.
Okay.
It was just like in my sound settings. Oh, I think it was where I turned like the physical volume of the laptop down. It wasn't the headphones. But I like the vibe we've got going on. Why did I say headphones? Microphones. I don't even know what these things are.
She's had no gummies tonight.
No. But we've had a steady vibe of like we'll pick a topic, but then we'll do like two different things on it. So this week we are doing kind of like hidden meanings in songs, kind of. Because like I've got like also like some true stories behind some songs. And you have, what was it?
Actors that you may not know that are musicians.
Yes.
And a lot of these I didn't know.
So
you want me to take it away?
Sure.
All right. So first we have Michael Cera. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I did not know. I had no idea. He has actually quite a good, like a decent little thing going.
Yeah.
He contributed backup vocals and mandolin on Weezer's song Hang On. He toured with rock band Mr. Heavenly and is part of the band The Long Goodbye. Also, I don't know what that was supposed to say. Maybe also sang with Clark Duke. I don't know. Anyway. He also, he like you in his movies and stuff, you'll see him playing and singing. Like in Juno, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist. But he did release a full-length studio album that included 19 original songs and several covers in 2014. It was called True That. He was featured on a track on Alden Penner's EP, Meditate, and toured as a co-headliner and part of the backing band with Penner in the UK, Netherlands, France, and Germany. He wrote and performed the song Best I Can from the film Dina, I think, or Dinah. And was nominated for Best Song in a Documentary in the 2017 Critics' Choice Documentary Awards.
I knew he was a musician, but I didn't know he was doing all that.
Right.
Some of these really when you first said his name, I confused him with Michael Shannon, and that's a totally different human being. And then you started like actually talking about, I was like, okay, yeah. And I knew he was a musician, but yeah, I didn't know he was doing all that.
This next one, I feel like everybody now knows that he's a musician, Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
This one, I feel
He's
like it's
been,
pretty
like-
widely known.
Yeah, he's been in a band for a hot
Right. But I decided I'd cover it anyway because I just like Johnny Depp. He's worked with rock acts such as Oasis, Shane MacGowan, and Iggy Pop. In 2015, he even formed the supergroup Hollywood Vampires, which includes Alice Cooper and Joe Perry. The group released 2 studio albums and still tours regularly.
Yeah.
Hugh Lowry. Do you know who that is? He's Dr. House.
Oh, is Lori.
Laurie. What'd I say?
Lowry.
My bad. Laurie has released 2 blues albums called Let Them Talk and Didn't It Rain, both of which feature him on guitar, piano, and vocals. He even did European tours with the Copper Bottom Band with the release of these albums. He has collaborated with a host of music icons such as Tom Jones, Irma Thomas, and Dr. John. I've never heard of any of those people.
I know who. Did you say Tom Jones?
Yes.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Excuse me. I backed away from the mic at least. Keanu Reeves. I feel like I heard this somewhere.
Like a rumbling of it.
Yeah. From 1991 to 2002, he pursued a music career as the bassist and vocalist of a grunge group called Dogstar. The band played with acts like Weezer and Rancid, and they joined back up in 2023 to release their 3rd album, Somewhere Between the Power Lines and Palm Trees. This one, The Shat, William Shatner.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. In 1968, he released his first album, The Transformed Man, that features covers of the Beatles and Bob Dylan, combined with monologues from classic literature, such as the work of William Shakespeare.
That's very Shatner.
Oh, for sure. His second studio album came in 2004 and features prose poem arrangements of songs in collaboration with Ben Folds. Shatner has released several more albums, including Christmas-themed album Shatner Claus in 2018 and his blues cover album, The Blues, in 2020. This one I did not know. Eddie Murphy. He's released 3 studio albums. The first one was in 1985. It was called How Could It Be, and it included the funk top 10 hit Party All the Time.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
I didn't know that.
He did this because Richard Pryor made him...
It's a decent song.
He did this because Richard Pryor made a $1,000 or $100,000 bet that Murphy could not sing, and then he pursued a music career just to prove him wrong. Sadly, it has been revealed that despite his success, he never was paid.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's shiesty.
Right? Jeff Goldblum. I knew this one. He's a jazz pianist and has released 3 albums with the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra. He plays often at the Rockwell Table and Stage in Hollywood, where he also hosts impromptu trivia sessions about his career and movies. I feel like that's very...
That's a little self-absorbed.
Yeah.
But he is fine. That is a very good-looking man.
This one also came as a surprise, but then I remembered as I was looking into it, Ryan Gosling.
Oh, yeah.
He got to start with like Britney Spears and all them with the Mickey Mouse Club. I forgot that he was in that.
Yeah. Yeah, he's also fine.
He's also in a rock duo called Dead Man's Bones.
Oh.
This one caught me off guard. TJ didn't know about this one either. He loves her. Scarlett Johansson.
Oh.
So have you ever heard, you've probably not, in the movie Sing, that was like a hot thing in my house for a hot minute.
No.
She's one of the characters.
But...
She's one of the characters in it and sings in it. But she's had a music career since 2006 and has 2 full-length studio albums. Her debut album, Anywhere I Lay My Head, has collaborations with the Yeah Yeah Yeahs and glam rock icon David Bowie. In 2015, she formed a band called The Singles with Estee Haim. And
I think it's Haim.
Oh, whatever.
But
and then, like I said, she sung in movie soundtracks such as from the movie Sing and also The Jungle Book. Zooey Deschanel.
You might be Haim. I think it is Haim.
I don't know.
I think you're right.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know.
Zooey Deschanel. She is half of the folk rock duo She and Him with M. Ward. They've released a total of 6 albums, including 2 Christmas ones, which doesn't surprise me.
No. And it is very kitschy. She is. Yeah.
Robert Pattinson. He doesn't have like any albums or anything, but he did record 2 songs for Twilight, Never Think and Let Me Sign. Hey, hot take. Twilight's not awful, okay? I'm here for it. I've watched them a million times.
I just wasn't a Twilight girl.
I wasn't into it back then, but like in the last, I would say 5 years, I've watched them a million times.
I just every time somebody mentions Twilight, all I think about is that ugly baby.
They're so dumb. They really are, but I enjoy them.
I mean, they were fine for what they are, I guess, but
But Pattinson was also on the soundtrack for his 2018 Western comedy Damsel. Katie Seagal.
Yeah, I think I did know that.
Which is funny because we just started rewatching Sons of Anarchy again, and she was singing, like, you know how like at the end of an episode they'll go out with the song or whatever. In a lot of shows it will at the end of an episode.
I have not once.
Well, a lot of shows, yeah. She sings, "The only man who could ever reach me was the son of a preacher man."
Yeah.
But she worked as a backup singer in the 70s and 80s, for people like Bob Dylan and Bette Midler. And she has released a solo album called Well in 2004.
Isn't it crazy how that doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but it was actually 20 years ago?
Bruce Willis.
That I did know.
You did?
Yes.
He released a pop blues album, The Return of Bruno, in 1987. It just blows my mind that was so long. Like, that they're old enough. I realize that they're old, but like that he's old enough to have released an album in 1987.
Yeah. But it was like a whole ass adult,
right?
Like a career,
and we weren't even born.
Yeah,
weren't even a twinkle in our daddy's eyes.
It was just merely a twinkle in our father's eyes.
Not at that point. But that features 9 cover songs and 1 original, which I think was called Jackpot, and he co-wrote it. Second album that he released was called If It Don't Kill You, It Just Makes You Stronger, and that was released in 1989. And he dropped out of Ocean's 11 to record his 3rd album, Classic Bruce Willis, The Universal Masters Collection, which came out in 2001. Russell Crowe. Mm-hmm. He's actually been playing music for as long as he's been an actor.
Yeah.
He was in an Australian rock band called the 30-Odd Foot of Grunts in the 80s, and has played with the Ordinary Fear of God and Indoor Garden Party. His musical stage name used to be Russ LeRock. Like RUSSLEROQ.
Thanks, I hate it.
Jackie Chan, this one got me.
I didn't know that.
He was not the artist. He's produced 20 albums.
Oh.
They're featured in films. He produced a version of I'll Make a Man Out of You for the China release of Mulan.
Well, I think I do feel like I knew that, because I do be up and up on some Disney trivia. But yeah, I didn't realize that it was like that extensive.
I have 3 more.
Okay.
I did include Jensen Ackles.
Yes.
He released his first original song as a professional singer titled Sounds of Someday, which is the first track from his debut album. In 2018, he collaborated with musician Steve Carlson to form Radio Company. Together, they completed a debut album entitled Volume 1. The album's first single was released on iTunes, and the album was released in November of 2019. They released Volume 2 on May 7th of 2021, and their third album, Keep On Ramblin', was released on February 24th of 2023.
He also has done, I don't know if you saw any of it, but like he's also does a lot of work with a guy named Jason Mans. It's either Man or Mans. I have a lot of their songs, and like that guy has done, he's got albums that are called, let me look him up real fast. Jason Mans? Yeah. And he's got like Recovering with Friends, and like he wrote this, or he put together this album when he was in recovery for, I believe, alcoholism. And he's got like the song The Joker with Jensen Ackles.
Yeah, they do a ton. I've heard him do a ton of covers.
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah.
And honestly, like my For You is a lot of them doing like cons and stuff and interviews, and then like every once in a while it'll pop up with him and the cast of Supernatural singing together.
Like Rob Benedict, he's got his like a whole ass movie career. Which, fun fact. Him and you may know that him and Rowena, they're together.
Yeah,
just had a baby.
Oh,
a little baby.
Aw.
But yeah, like it's got a whole like Emily Swallow, the girl that played Amara, did a cover of Renegade with him. Kim Rhodes, she was the mom on Sweet Life and Zack and Cody. Yeah, she a version of Knocking on Heaven's Door. Brianna Buckmaster's also got a whole ass music career. She was what is her name on the show?
She the other cop lady?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love her. She's gorgeous.
She is.
They really like really played nice her beauty voice down in the movie or in the show.
Oh yeah.
All right, so my last two. I saved my two favorites for last. Billy Bob Thornton.
I feel like I knew something.
He began playing drums at the age of 12. He joined a Creedence Clearwater Revival cover band in high school. After college, he spent time in local bands like Blue and the Blue Velvets, Nothing Doing, Cottonwood, and Hot Lana, playing colleges and high schools throughout Arkansas and Texas. Nothing Doing became Tres Hombres, which was a ZZ Top cover band in the early 80s. After he became a big-time actor, he decided to return to his first love of music and record an album. The dark and personal Private Radio arrived in 2001 on the Universal imprint Uptown. He produced... Hold on. Oh, he is produced and co-written with country legend Marty Stewart. It featured session work from some of Nashville's finest. Sanctuary released Edge of the World in 2003, followed by Hobo, released on the Big Deal label in 2005, and Beautiful Door in 2007. Thornton has also appeared on albums by Earl Scruggs, The Bastard Sons of Johnny Cash, and Warren Zevon. So he's got his foothold here in Nashville.
Right.
And then this one is my favorite because she's hot. Hailee Steinfeld.
Who is that?
Okay. She's gorgeous. So she was in Pitch Perfect 2, 3? 2. She was in Pitch Perfect 2.
Oh.
She's been in a lot, but She's gorgeous.
She's really pretty.
She's got a voice like none other.
She just doesn't look familiar to me.
But she's released a ton. Her 2020 EP, Half Written Story, or that was her 2020 EP was called Half Written Story. In 2015, she was featured in the music video for Taylor Swift's #1 hit, Bad Blood.
Okay.
And on an acoustic version of Shawn Mendes's hit Stitches. Her own pop single, the rousing Love Myself, hit the Hot 100 that summer, in addition to being a streaming and radio hit. Her debut EP, Haze, arrived in November 2015, hitting the front half of the Billboard 200 and charting in Canada and Japan. Remind me that I have something to mention here in a second. I don't know why I didn't think about it earlier. The following July, she returned with Starving, which was a collaboration with the EDM duo Gray and producer Zed, which made a strong showing at number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. In 2017, she released the solo single Most Girls and a collaboration with Alesso, Florida Georgia Line, and Andrew Watt titled Let Me Go. The following year, she paired with Blood Pop for the track Capital Letters off the 50 Shades Freed soundtrack, led by the singles Wrong Direction and I Love Yous, which was her sophomore LP, from her sophomore LP, Half Written Story, appeared in May 2020. She then made her debut in the Marvel superhero universe, starring in Disney's 2021 television series Hawkeye. It was hot. She returned to music in 2022, collaborating with Anderson .Paak on the track Coast. The bright summertime anthem Sun Kissing followed in early 2023. So
yeah, she was the Trinity in the Bad Blood music video.
Yeah. So
why did I think that was a set of triplets?
Anyway, off topic. I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier. What about OT Swizzle being top 14? Like,
that's crazy.
1 through 14.
Yeah, that's crazy.
On Billboard right now. If I'm not mistaken, she's the first person to ever do that.
Yeah.
1 through 14.
She's just breaking records left and right.
I hate that I hate her so much.
It's not impossible for anybody.
I hate that I hate her so much.
Be likable.
I hate that I hate her so much.
That's fine, but like, I think she's likable. I think it's easy for people to hate her because.
Would you like one of these, Amara? What's going to happen if she gets this?
She'll probably just smack it out of your hand. She ain't going to eat it.
Is it going to make her sick if she does?
She won't eat it. I already know. She won't. She's picky.
Anyway, that's all I got.
She specifically likes potato chips.
Pacifically?
Pacifically.
Yeah.
Specifically likes potato chips.
You said specifically.
I know I did. It was an accident. I'm
a little upset about it.
I would never do that on purpose.
I feel like you did. What is happening? Are you good, girl?
Scratching her back.
All right. Let's get into your whole 18 pages of this. Strap in.
I have 6 songs with some backstories to them. The first few, they're relatively short. It's the last one that I really kind of dug into. So the first one is a song called The Carroll County Accident. It was the song won Porter Wagner Song of the Year in 1969 and became one of his signature tunes. And it was all about a car accident that killed the passenger and left the driver seriously injured. The passenger, Walter Browning, and the driver, Mary Ellen Jones, were having an affair, which the song exposes. Mary Ellen claimed that Browning was only giving her a lift into town, but the narrator finds Browning's wedding band in the car wreckage. It had been hidden in a matchbox. There is a twist, though, and in the last verse, the narrator reveals himself to be Browning's son, who ends up disposing of the wedding band in order to protect his father's reputation. The person who wrote the song was Bob Ferguson, who said in an interview with Dorothy Horstman, I was driving through Tennessee on my way to Mississippi when I passed an interstate sign that said Carroll County. And I said to myself, if I don't slow down, I'll be the Carroll County accident. And then I thought, if that isn't a song title, I've never heard one. He came up with the name of the song after the song had already been written. I wasn't able to find anything that said one way or the other if this was a true story or not, or if it was even loosely based on one. Not even the Wikipedia page for the song had anything to say about whether or not it was a true story. So
it's funny that you mentioned that because this is the very first episode that I've ever used Wikipedia as a source.
Yeah. I mean, I think for like songs and stuff, it's for stuff like this, I think Wikipedia can be fine as long as you can also substantiate it from a different source, I guess. That's what I like to do. Like if I'm going to use Wikipedia, I will also make sure that it's discoverable information and it's not just something that somebody's put on there.
But I just used it for the discography.
Yeah, I think Wikipedia is a fine source.
Ooh, I'm so excited about these tables. I could just scoot it up so I can kick back.
Yeah. Got a little footstool under there if you need it.
No, look, I'm good.
So.
Oh, hell yeah.
I will.
Oh, hell yeah.
Torture you briefly with a Taylor Swift selection. But there is a reason I've chosen this particular song, because there are many songs that I could have chosen. And I think because I wasn't like into Taylor Swift when this particular album came out, and I think that I discovered this song at the perfect time for me personally.
Did I just open like Pandora's box? Was there something in this?
No, it was empty.
Okay. I was just making sure.
No, because when my sister was here, she needed a grinder for garden grass.
For her oregano.
And all of my oregano paraphernalia was hidden. Because I don't use it anymore. So I brought everything in the house from the storage shed. And then I was like, ooh, these jars are cute. I'm going to use them for something else besides oregano. Which they still had oregano in them, by the way. I didn't know it. And it was dry, and it didn't even have a smell. And so I cleaned. That was my old stash box up there. That was my newest one that fit these stash jars in them. So I gave her most everything. I gave her my old stash box.
What about the Jeffree Star thing?
Gave it to
that was awful.
Yeah, it was the grind. The grinder wasn't too bad. But I
didn't like it.
Her. I ended up not liking it and ended up buying another one, but I liked the one I bought less. So,
did you ever get that Pokeball one?
No, I don't think that ever existed. I don't think he ever ordered that.
Was that dumbass?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he did give me a different one, which I ended up. I said, give this to Carl's sister for her oregano. Because it's like self-sharpening. It's pretty
That's
cool.
Fancy.
Yeah. But like
I talk like I know anything about all this.
But the only thing that I didn't like is that it doesn't have a keef catch on the bottom for like the keef of the oregano.
The seeds.
It's
oregano, Brittany.
It's oregano.
Oregano doesn't have keef.
If you grind it, it would.
Okay.
Because it's just the fine powder.
Okay, I got you.
It's just a fine powder.
Like I said, I don't know nothing about all this. I'm just
but anyway, so that grinder doesn't have a filter system to filter that out of the good stuff or the other stuff, because the keef is very good.
That's the good seasoning.
That's a good seasoning. You save that for special occasions. Like the grind. Some of the grinders even come with special little spatulas to.
That's for when you make that good Alfredo.
Yeah, that's for the good Alfredo. So anyway, my next song is Dear John by Taylor Swift. So there is there's obviously a hidden meaning in this song, just based on, that when she wrote this song that she was going through it and somebody did her dirty. So allegedly, and she famously has never confirmed or denied or named names on any song ever. But allegedly, this song is about her brief, possible situationship with John Mayer. So at the time that the two were allegedly together, she was only 19 years old and he was 32. They did a collaboration.
Ew.
Yeah. They did a collaboration and were spotted together frequently, but it has never been confirmed if they were actually a couple. But I would say at most it was a situationship. It's just awfully convenient that she was 19 when she was allegedly with him, and this song references her being 19 and with a man who's sucks. I wouldn't be me if I didn't pick a Taylor Swift song, but I picked this one for a very specific reason. And if I could send one song, because that was something that wannabe congressman and I would do, is we would send each other songs. Particularly if there was something that we wanted to say to the other and couldn't formulate it.
Right.
So if I could send him a song, it would be this one. If I just unblocked him for a moment, sent him a song, and then blocked him again, it would be this song.
Right.
I called him the congressman from Wish in my notes. So, of course, I wasn't 19 and I wasn't young like she references in the song, but I was in a very, very vulnerable place, and I feel like he took advantage of that. Then Taylor said that this song was like the last email you'd send to somebody you used to be in a relationship with. And in the song, she says, well, maybe it's me and my blind optimism to blame. Maybe it's you and your sick need to give love and take it away. And you'll add my name to your long list of traitors who don't understand, and I'll look back and regret how I ignored when they said, run as fast as you can.
Man, that hit.
Yeah.
That last line hit.
The next verse says, you are an expert at sorry and keeping lines blurry, and never impressed by me acing your tests. All the girls that you've run dry have tired, lifeless eyes, 'cause you burned them out. She also blames herself through the song, saying, I should have known. And at the end, she switches over to you should have known, which holds the man accountable for his wrongdoings as well. Of the song, John Mayer was quoted in Rolling Stone as saying, I never got an email. I never got a phone call. I was really caught off guard, and it really humiliated me at a time when I'd already been dressed down. When the interviewer asked him about the chorus line, don't you think I was too young to be messed with? He said, I don't want to go into that.
So he confirmed that it's about him.
Well, going on to say, I will say as a songwriter that I think it's kind of cheap songwriting. I personally think it's a bit presumptuous to speak on it in an interview as if you know for sure that it was written about you, but that isn't at all what John Mayer did. He also released a track entitled Paper Doll a year later, and it's just assumed to be a retaliation track as it references part of Dear John or parts of Dear John. And it's also been speculated that this could also be a song about another older man that she was seeing at about the same time, or was linked to it about the same time. But it's mostly speculated that it's about John Mayer. And other women that he's been with have kind of confirmed he's kind of a piece of shit. But and also it tracks because Congressman from Wish, John Mayer's his favorite. I've heard, and also made a note that I've heard for years that John Mayer sued her over the song because it has the name John in it. But that he lost because of it's just common knowledge of Dear John letters. And that this song could be about anybody. But when I was actually looking into it, I could not find any information to back this up.
Okay, but hear me out. Some John Mayer stuff is good.
It's fine. But now that when I hear it, all I think about is that.
I mean, I get that. So, but that song, and slow dancing in a burning room. I love that song. Because I'm sure that, I don't know, but yeah, it's not terrible, but I never listened to him before Wannabe Congressman, and I haven't listened to him since. So, and now that I'm
a Swiftie, I'm contractually obligated to hate John Mayer. Not really, but you know. But also too, this song, the guitar parts of this song, like
I've literally never listened to this song.
If you listen to it, the guitar specifically gives John Mayer
Does it?
Yeah. But for me personally, like at a time when I feel like I really needed this song, it was very empowering for me, and it was healing in a way. And I think that's why I resonate with a lot of her songs, is because like I can think back to, because even on the new album, you know, Love It or Hate It, there are songs for me personally that like make me think of, you know, men from my past, or even Danny. There's one on there that, you know, I'm just like, you know, this makes me think of him, or just existing at all. Because like even she's got one on there called Thank You Amy, and it's supposed to be about Kim Kardashian, but nobody actually knows. But it's basically just like, fuck you. You were mean to me. Like, why should I?
Oh, you dropped it.
That's fine. It's in the song. It's fine. That's 2 episodes in a row. I'm usually on top of my shit, but you're lucky I'm tired. But we need like little F-bomb things or something.
We need a buzzer.
Yeah. But yeah, so... Because, like, Smallest Man Who Ever Lived, that immediately, the first time I ever listened to that song, that's Congressman from Wish. What's the other one? There's one that makes me, as there are not a lot of songs that make me think of my ex-husband, and this one does. It is, if anybody wants to, So Long London. That one makes me think about my ex-husband. Which generally I just don't. but yeah, that one, because it just took me back to the end of all of that.
Right.
But anyway, my next song, on a probably an even more depressing note, Led Zeppelin, All My Love. Are you familiar?
I was sitting here trying to think, is that All of My Love?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So during the summer of 1977,
I'm really sorry y'all are subjected to my shit singing.
That's okay. But during the summer of 1977, Led Zeppelin was riding high on their success. And on July 30th, 1977, the band was in New Orleans for a totally packed show. While preparing to go on stage, singer Robert Plant received a call from his wife saying that their 5-year-old son, Carrick, had become very seriously ill and died of a stomach infection. He caught the first flight home that he could get back to England, and the band canceled the remainder of the tour. One of my sources said that Jimmy Page went with him back home, but it was actually John Bonham. The loss of his son drove a wedge between Plant and the rest of the band, Jimmy Page in particular. This made him question whether or not he even wanted to continue in the band. And in a 2005 interview, Plant said, "During the absolute darkest times of my life, when I lost my boy and my family was in disarray, it was Bonzo, John Bonham, who came to me. The other guys were from the south of England and didn't have the same type of social etiquette that we have up here in the north that could actually bridge that uncomfortable chasm with all the sensitivities required to console." Both Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones did not attend Carrick's funeral, which can make one understand why Plant would later have a more blasé attitude about the band. But the band wasn't through yet, and 2 years later, in 1979, the band got together to record and release In Through the Outdoor. This album included the song All My Love, and to some, the song may seem like a cheesy love song, but for Plant, it was a tribute to his son. The band embarked on a tour of Europe in 1980 and had planned an American leg of the tour. However, it was just not meant to be, as drummer John Bonham died of asphyxiation in his sleep following a night of heavy drinking at Page's home on September 25th in 1980. And after this, there was no more Led Zeppelin. I remember listening to this song growing up with my dad, and I remember knowing how even though it sounds like a love song, it just had this sense of like longing, sadness within it. And I wasn't aware of the deeper meaning until now. And after giving it a re-listen, it is really evident that he was hurting, and obviously, and as one would after that sort of loss. And even after all these years later, I'm sure that it is still as fresh of a wound as it was in 1977 for him. And if I'm not mistaken, it was only until like the mid 2000s, early 2010s, that him and Jimmy Page could even stand to be in the same room together. Yeah, they didn't do anything together. My next song is called Frankie and Johnny, which I believe there's a Mae West movie that's based on this story, I believe, but I didn't touch on it in my writing. This song has been sung by many artists over the years, including Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, Sam Cooke, Stevie Wonder, Van Morrison, Sammy Davis Jr., and Lena Horne.
I don't know that I know what song this is.
I didn't either. I had to listen to it. I like the Johnny Cash version the best. But what I found to be the most interesting and probably the craziest part is it seems like no two versions of this song are the same. So the Johnny Cash version and the Merle Haggard versions are similar in that they have the same like melodic overtones, and it's got the same rhythm, but the words are totally like, it kind of starts out and you're like, oh, okay, this is that Johnny Cash song. But once he starts actually singing the song, and it's like, where did Merle Haggard come up with this?
Right.
This is totally different. But yeah, every version I listened to was not the same. But they all told the same story, or similar story. They all told different versions of the same story. This song is an American murder ballad that is based on the real shooting of a 17-year-old Alan Britt by his much older girlfriend, Frankie Baker, in St. Louis in 1899. When Frankie discovered Britt with a prostitute, she shot him, but at her trial, she pled self-defense and was subsequently declared not guilty. Just weeks after the murder, songwriter Bill Dooley wrote Frankie Killed Alan, and then in 1912, the song was recorded by Frank and Bert Layton and released under the title Frankie and Johnny because they felt the title had a better flow than the original with Alan or Albert, which was his real name. Since then, there have been over 250 versions of this song recorded, and several movies have been inspired by this story.
Okay.
Yeah, for something I have never heard of in my life. There was a film of the same name released in 1936 starring Helen Morgan and Chester Morris, and then later in 1942, the real Frankie Baker decided that she was going to sue Republic Pictures for defamation. She inevitably lost the lawsuit, and she was never able to shake her reputation as a murderer despite being acquitted. During the court proceedings for the defamation case, she was quoted as saying, "I was pointed out as the worst woman in the world and introduced as the Frankie of the song instead of Miss Baker." And then the next song is Tom Dooley. So prior to enlisting in the Confederate Army in 1862, young Tom Dooley, it's spelled D-U-L-A, like his real name, but it's pronounced like D-O-O-L-E-Y, and that's how you'll see it in the song titles, is the D-O-O-L-E-Y. He had been romantically involved with one Ann Melton. After he returned to Wilkes County, North Carolina, when the war was over, Anne was now married, but her and Tom carried on their relationship. At the same time, Tom was out and about with her cousin, Laura Foster.
Oh.
But that was until the spring of 1866 when Laura's body was found in a shallow grave with stab wounds to her chest. So Dooley was subsequently arrested in Tennessee and brought back to North Carolina for his trial. His case was highly publicized at the time, and he was ultimately convicted, and his sentence was briefly overturned but was ultimately upheld. And in the end, Tom Dooley was executed for the murder of Laura Foster. But his death wasn't the end of his story. And since then, there have been rumors, conspiracies, and a murder ballad to keep his name relevant. In 1958, the Kingston Trio recorded and released the song Tom Dooley to great commercial success. But the recording that started it all was captured by Frank and Ann Warner, who were song collectors, and they recorded carpenter Frank Prophet singing the song in Beech Mountain, North Carolina in 1938. And North Carolina legend Doc Watson even recorded a version that was released in 1964. And allegedly, his great-grandmother heard that Ann Melton, the original lover, confessed to the murder of Laura Foster on her deathbed in 1874.
See, I don't know why I get why why was she ever questioned? Because that was my first thought. She did it.
I have no idea. But yeah, I would have looked at her first.
Right.
But he's out here tomcatting with two women.
Right.
So it must have been him.
Mm-mm.
And then my last one. This one is the one that's a bit more in depth. So
I've never heard this one.
Me either. So the murder, and the song is pretty straightforward. But we'll get into the story of the song first. So the murder of the Lawson family. Charlie and Fannie Lawson were married in 1911 and had 8 children, but one died at the age of 6 due to pneumonia. In 1918, Charlie moved his family to the Germantown area of North Carolina and began sharecropping tobacco. And by 1927, they had saved up enough money to buy a farm on Brook Cove Road. During the evenings, Charlie, Fannie, and their 2 eldest children, Arthur and Marie, would work on renovating the farmhouse. It was during one of these renovations that Charlie was removing some rotted wood and suffered a blow to his forehead from an axe. After this incident, his family and neighbors began to notice his demeanor change. A few weeks before Christmas in 1929, tobacco farmer Charlie Lawson loaded up his family and took them into Winston-Salem in North Carolina and bought everyone new clothes and had a family portrait made. At this time, this was quite a frivolous and extravagant expense for a poor tobacco farmer. I'll make sure and share the family photo to our socials. And if you're looking at it now, so from left to right, it goes Arthur, who was 16, the daughter Marie, Arthur was 17. I think. I might have they're not the same age. I've got them listed as the same age. They're definitely not. But Arthur was older. And then Marie, Charlie, who was 43 at the time, and Fannie was 37, but she looked like she was 57. Mary Lou, who was only 3 months old. James 4, Maybelle was 7, and Raymond 2, and then lastly was Carrie, who was 12. According to Charlie, the photo was a Christmas surprise. Now, on Christmas morning in 1929, Marie woke up early to blend butter, sugar, and white eggs, roll a cup of raisins and flour, and pour the mixture into 2 circular pans. This was her signature dessert, and soon it would be iced and decorated and ready for their Christmas celebrations. While Marie's cake was cooling, Charlie and Arthur set off on a rabbit hunting expedition with the family's 2 beagles. When they ran out of ammo, Charlie sent Arthur into town to buy more. Back at the farmhouse, Marie was finishing up her dessert, and her 2 younger sisters decided to go visit with their aunt and uncle nearby. What no one else knew was that Charlie, their father, was sitting by the barn waiting. And when the 2 girls went by, he shot them both, and to ensure they were dead, he beat them with the handle of a hoe. Fanny was sitting on the porch peeling potatoes when her husband returned, and he shot her as well. He quickly reloaded and opened the front door and pulled the trigger once again. This time it struck Marie, who then slumped to the floor in front of the fireplace. He reloaded again and shot James and Raymond, and then, without hesitation, beat baby Mary Lou to death. Charlie then went and hid in the woods nearby until just before sunset, and just right after the bodies had been discovered, there was a shot that was heard in the woods, and it was evident to everybody he had taken his own life. It wasn't long after the sound of the shot faded into silence that the Lawsons' beagles began to howl, which led searchers to Charlie's body. And police found letters to his parents, and then on a crumpled piece of scrap paper, a note saying, "Blame nobody but I." In a quiet corner of Stokes County, you will find the small family cemetery where the family was buried. And they were all buried, I say this later, they were all buried in a small family plot in a single mass grave. And the baby, Mary Lou, was buried in her mother's arms. More than 1,500 people attended the funeral after all of the attention that the murders had brought, and national attention. And there was a front page story on the New York Times as well. Arthur did survive, though, as he was in town, and he was the only member of his family that survived. Even today, there is a lot of speculation as to the reason for this massacre. Some people think that it was premeditated since he took them for a Christmas surprise prior to, as though he wanted to have one family photo, because I think that's the only photo that exists of the whole family. Some people blame Charlie's head injury. However, there was an autopsy done and an analysis of his brain at Johns Hopkins Hospital, and there were no abnormalities found. It was also speculated that he had witnessed something to do with organized crime and that the whole family was murdered in order to silence them. There were no other real theories as to the cause until 1990, when the book White Christmas, Bloody Christmas was published, which is now out of print and is like almost $300 on Amazon for a used copy. Yeah. And this book made claims that Charlie and the oldest daughter, Marie, were having an incestuous relationship.
Ugh.
Stella Lawson had been interviewed for the book after she had called the author, and said she had overheard Fanny's sisters-in-law, and aunts, including Stella's mother, Jetty Lawson, discovering how Fanny had confided in them that she was concerned about a relationship between Charlie and Marie. Jetty Lawson passed away in 1928, prior to the murders, which would mean that Fanny was suspicious of this incestuous relationship for at least a year prior to her murder. There has been further support for this theory of incest with the publication of the book The Meaning of Our Tears, that was published by the same author in 2006. In this book, it is revealed that a close friend of Marie Lawson's, Ella Mae, disclosed that a few weeks before Christmas, Marie told her that she was pregnant with her father's child, and that her parents, Charlie and Fanny, knew about it. Since then, there have been countless stories of premonitions, curses, and ghosts in the Germantown area, especially after Arthur, the only surviving family member, died in a freak truck accident when he was in his early 30s. The Lawson cabin, it still stood for a long time, and they ended up having to put chicken wire around it because people kept going in and trying to take the bloody floorboards and stuff. Because murderabilia is highly sought after, even in 1929. But it has since been torn down. But what about the damn song? So The first appearance of this particular murder ballad was from 1930, which quick turnaround time.
Right.
And it was by the Carolina Buddies. There have been many versions of this song since then, and many of them available on Apple Music. The one I liked the best was the Doc Watson version, which was recorded live in Chicago in 1964. And he gave a brief introduction of the story, which happened during his lifetime. Like, it happened when he was a little kid.
Right.
And Google kind of buries the fact that there was a song related to this crime. And, like, any of the articles that I used that, like, discussed the nature of the actual crime didn't even mention that there was a song that had been inspired by the murders, which I say inspired by. It's just storytelling. It's a lot. But yeah, I definitely had to specifically go looking for the song. Like, if I hadn't had that book that I had gotten at McKay's a while back, I would not have known that this song existed just based on the fact that the crime happened. But
nice.
Yeah. And I in my episode sources, I'll have the songs I selected in those as well. But
well,
that's what I have.
Well, I've got the nonprofit. I picked the Special Angel Inc., which is a nonprofit that helps to create a safe and healing space through music to soften hearts, inspire change, encourage understanding, and talk about real life issues. They deal with like teens who have been through things, and with music and stuff, they try and help them heal. It educates young people about self-confidence, positive communication skills, and the life-threatening consequences of high-risk behavior. We will definitely link, a direct link to their website or whatever, but basically it says that their goals are to educate young people through music and lyrics on the potentially life-threatening consequences of high-risk behavior. They work collaboratively with agencies assisting young people in healing their lives and setting and accomplishing their goals. They aim to educate the public on the problems young people face today and the opportunities available for help. And they use any local or national press to shine more light on the agencies that they work with. Their goal for the next 5 years is to expand the program to other areas across the country, teaching selected musicians their approach and identify specific agencies to collaborate with. Basically, and like their little catchphrase is cute. It's every kid in trouble needs a special angel. We all have it in us to be one.
Aww.
So there's like a story behind this though.
Yeah.
So it says, and this was written by Suzanne Lawrence Geimer, who is the founder. It says, when my daughter Kelly was a teenager, we sometimes had things we disagreed on, such as most parents of teenagers do from time to time. As a mom, I had many sleepless nights wondering where I was going wrong. And this is why I picked this one, because this raising a teenage girl is
hard.
Not for the faint of heart. One thing that helped our relationship was the songs I was writing. The feelings the songs brought out helped us communicate and learn to listen to each other through the music. She began asking me to sing them for her friends, and it had the same effect on them. Soon, Kelly was singing along with me, and the magic of the music became a powerful way to encourage open discussion on issues facing us in the real world. We found that music created a safe space that enabled us to talk about self-esteem, not giving in to negative peer pressure, believing in yourself, and focusing on becoming the person you were meant to be. We also found that kids were not shy about talking about things such as relationships, drugs, alcohol, and other things that could have a negative impact on their lives. Music became a catalyst for opening the mind to positive change. We knew we were on to something important. The seeds for the Special Angel Project were planted in 1989 when we sang for a group of kids in Atlanta, Georgia. In 1990, we moved to Beverly Hills, California. Kelly and I started going to the Children of the Night shelter in Van Nuys. Okay.
I only know that because I read the Nikki Sixx book.
Oh. And that's in California. Using our songs to get kids to talk about their feelings. The counselors were amazed at how the kids related to the music and asked us to return. We've been working with Children of the Night on a regular basis since that first visit. From there, we added other shelters and agencies working with young people. As a nurse and a mother, I was interested in learning more about the problems young people are facing today and found a way to combine my love of music with my nursing background. Working side by side with my daughter, singing and discussing real-life issues with more and more teens who responded positively to our approach, we found a way to make a difference. Establishing Special Angel Inc. as a nonprofit organization enabled us to bring the Special Angel Project to more kids. The Elton John AIDS Foundation gave us our first grant, which I find. I just love Elton John anyway.
Yeah.
The circle... Hold on. Nope, I skipped. We are so grateful to them for getting us off to such a good start and encourage your support of their mission. Other supporters have enabled us to reach thousands of kids over the years. One of my greatest joys is seeing Kelly as a mom now with her own daughter, Allie. Life is a circle, and music has been both a healer and a teacher for all of us. The circle continues as Kelly and her husband, Rob, added twin boys to the family. Allie is now the leader of our teen advisory group, and the beat goes on. Our work is expanding. I always wanted to do something lasting in memory of my brother Carl, who died at age 19. He had a difficult time getting through his own teen years and became the angel who inspired me to help troubled teens. Carl was the manager of the first band I ever sang with. We performed in and around Augusta and Atlanta, Georgia many years ago. I wrote some of the songs we performed, and the rest was just good old rock and roll. It was a fun and exciting time. We recorded it it's getting to that time of night where I can't talk. We recorded at Atlanta Sound Recording Studio. The spirit of the Expressions and my brother Carl lives on. Learn more about the Expressions and how I started my singing career in our book, Someday It Will Matter. All of us have something to give. Your purpose is rooted in your passion, and I have always been passionate about music and helping others. It all began with my brother Carl and those great guys who made up the Expressions. And then a little quote. It says, "The gem cannot be polished without friction, nor man perfected without trials." And it's Chinese proverb said this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
I like that.
I thought it was a pretty cool little deal, and it was tied into music.
That's why I'm glad we started doing this, because I've learned about so many more different like organizations that I never would have heard of otherwise.
Right. Well, and like I said, like we've said before, it's even if you guys aren't donating, you're learning something about something else, and you may
tell somebody. Yeah, you may tell somebody who does feel led to
donate or needs help from these organizations.
Yeah.
So,
or can offer their services or whatever.
So, again, just we'll put that little linky link.
Yeah, little something.
But while you're looking, before you look at that link, I think I'm going to make this a new thing.
Oh Lord.
At least I know
where it's coming. Yeah, I just didn't know where it was going last time.
I wanted to catch you off guard. But, so here's what I want you to do this week. I don't know if I can make this an every week thing, because I don't think I'm going to be able to make up scenarios every time.
Yeah.
So this week, you're going to go into your kitchen, and you're going to grab a big, stock pot, like a big one. And you're going to fill it full of water. And then you're going to put your spices and herbs and fruits and whatever else in there you want to put in there. And you're going to make a nice little simmer pot. And it's going to cleanse your area. My favorite simmer pot, we're just going to say cinnamon, some orange, like orange slices, some cranberries, some sage, some bay leaves with intentions written on them. And you're just going to let that sit on your stove and heat up and simmer real nice, smell real nice, and cleanse your area. And then you're going to cast that social circle.
It's doing too much.
And you're going to follow us on Facebook,
Instagram,
TikTok,
X.
Email us with those wonderful episode topic ideas, constructive criticisms.
You ain't got to do that.
Tell us how much you love us.
Yeah, that's all you're allowed to do.
And then review us on all these things, too.
The only good ones.
And that email address that you're going to reach us at, though, is wanderersofweird@gmail.com. Yeah, baby.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.